film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Because indie film is depressing stuff.
Depressing. It can put you into a depression. I don't know if it's always depressing.
No, it is not always depressing. It is some of the best times I've ever had being on an indie film set.
And some of the lowest times you ever had? Like in life, just around that, or?
Well, not on set. I mean, there have been some crappy times on set. I'm not going to lie. There have been some moments when I have been on a set, and it's only a couple, where, man, I wish I was anywhere but here. But that is rare.
Yeah.
Most of the depression comes afterwards, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, depression is such a strong word. So it's depression is a feeling of despair, a feeling of you can't get out of the situation.
Yes.
It's a long-term disability for some people.
Yes.
It's a negative term for sure.
It is a negative term.
So depression is the long term for me. Depressed in individual things is what I probably get on when we're doing independent films, which I didn't have before because I wasn't involved. Now that I'm highly involved in 88 millimeter, there is definitely some depressed times where I'm like, what the heck am I could be doing better things than this.
I have felt that. I remember young spry Macke.
Yes.
Back in the early days of just, hey, want to come out and make a movie? Yeah, man, that's awesome.
What time I got to be there? How long I got to stay?
Yeah. And then, haggard, broken down producer Macke, like, man, what am I doing this for? What is the purpose?
No, you know what changed for me was realizing that you already did it. I'm doing nothing that you already didn't do or had to do, but you had to do it all collectively at the exact same time.
I mean, that's fair.
So that's where I was like, you know what, this is the only thing I'm doing. And I think my lack of enthusiasm, sometimes we'll call it that, came from my lack of experience, because I'm used to having resources, knowing what I'm doing, having people to call and getting answers and having funds in order to complete the task I've been assigned.
Not regarding film.
No, not regarding film, but that's what I was used to. I come from a business world where I worked for a multi-billion-dollar company that, millions, maybe almost $1 billion.
Sure.
But large company that has resources, and I'm trained and I understand my job. And it's hard in film because you need the experience of being on sets. And unless you work in it every day, you're learning on the job.
Yeah, and there are different levels of film. There's like the commercial corporate side, which is very different than independent filmmaking on a low or micro, or in some cases no budget. Those are very different things, right? It's not the same as working on an independent film with millions of dollars and that is for all intents and purposes a first run Hollywood studio picture, except it's not backed by a studio. Right? There's a vast difference between that and then working in, like I said, the corporate commercial money making field and making movies with nothing but a love for the game.
Because in a couple of those, two of those, you're getting paid regardless of how the production comes out.
Yes.
Right? So there's money, enough money, and I think that's a big difference between the two you mentioned, the Hollywood-esque and the commercial side of things, that there's somebody else funding it per se.
Yeah.
As opposed to the grind. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is you're doing this and there's no guarantee of return. So you have to, you're doing it on love and passion.
Yeah.
And the trust that you, the cast, the crew, and everybody's going to be able to put a vision together depending on what your role is on the film. And as a producer, my vision is to be able to put a film together.
Yeah.
Execute the strategy of the director, the DP, everybody else, and then try to sell it afterwards.
Yes.
And make it good enough to where it's marketable. And that's the part where you're just like, holy cow, I'm on step 14 and there's 1,400 steps.
Yeah.
and going back to the word depressed, you just look at it and just go, what the hell am I doing?
It ain't fun without money, man.
I mean, Brock, so depressed. No, we're missing Brock tonight.
Brock's not even here.
Yeah, exactly. He's
just
on
assignment.
Yeah, I mean,
Brock's on
it made him
suicide
sick.
watch.
Yeah, no, he's not on that. But
No.
he's a little under the weather tonight. Probably a little overextended, I would think, or whatever. But we'll call it on assignment for sure. So we're gonna chat to you tonight. What I know we talked about it. Good lead in here. So what else is on your mind from that?
Well, I want to say something I've been thinking a lot about lately. The biggest struggle that almost all filmmakers face. It's not money. It's not predatory distributors. It's simply apathy.
Okay.
Public apathy. Because there are thousands of us out there. There are thousands of people making thousands of films. And everybody has the best film ever, and they have the very best cast and crew in the world, and their movie is their passion, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to tell you, apart from a few select people, nobody else gives a shit. Nobody else gives a shit what you're doing. Yeah, I know your mom says that you're a great filmmaker, and man, how come you're not in Hollywood yet, and all of that, but that doesn't matter, that doesn't count.
Right.
The biggest thing that you have to overcome is public apathy. So 24 years ago, I guess 25 years ago, when we were making our very first feature, in St. Louis anyway, and I can't speak to other cities, but in St. Louis, it was a novel thing to be making an independent feature film. It really was. And we had a casting call for that, and I would guess we had 200 to 300 people turn out for that because there was real excitement.
There was a buzz.
There was a huge buzz.
Yeah.
And the premiere for our first feature film, which was back in 2003, we premiered it at this venue called The Pageant, which was a brand new concert hall because the theater that it was in, which was the Tivoli Theater, it triple sold out or something like that.
No, and they weren't going to turn on the ticket sales. They moved venues as opposed to turning people
So
away.
we had to move venues,
Yeah.
yeah. And there was something like 800 people in attendance at this premiere, and it was like a big deal in the town at the time. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, if you didn't have a ticket to amphetamine, and for me, that set the bar so high for my first feature. Wow, man, all these people want to see it. It was so exciting. That night was such a big deal, and I thought, this is the beginning of all sorts of incredible adventures.
It's like the circus came to town.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't know what people were doing. This guy made a film, right? It's just like, every once in a while, this is new, exciting, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't happen all the time
That's
here.
exactly what it was like. The circus came to town, but afterwards, I was handing a broom and had to clean up the elephant shit. Because that's exactly where that first movie went. It went absolutely nowhere.
But explain. So everybody was excited about that, right? Because it was new. It was something different. So what does that compare to now, right? I get that, right? So it was new, and it still went nowhere, right?
Yeah.
You had all the hype, all the.
Oh, locally.
No, but you don't get that now.
No.
It's different.
It's different.
Right. Now it's different. I think it's because people are so conditioned, except for when it's new or something like that, because somebody was doing something different in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And taking on something that people were like, I didn't know you could make movies on your own, right? There was a newness to it.
Sure.
And I think now people are so conditioned that if it's not what they're used to seeing on TV or radio or that, then it's not it's not something it's just something else that somebody's doing as a hobby or something, because they're so conditioned and there's so much medium out there now that there's a lot to compare it to.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I talk about public apathy.
Yeah.
You know, you launch a podcast and you're excited and hey, and tell your friends, tell blah, blah,
Yeah, but it's
blah.
not Joe Rogan.
Well, no, of course. It's not someone that people knows. It's just one more thing, one more little blip in a sea of white noise.
That's why I think there's not a lot of that, right? Because it's not what their expectations are.
Sure.
We're substandard to that. Not that they're mad at us or don't like us because what we're doing, but they're probably not going to listen to us or go watch our movie.
No, well, who knows? I mean, that's the thing. That's what no filmmaker wants to think about, wants to hear. It's that level of apathy that you have to overcome. That people just don't care. It's nothing personal against you. It's not that they actively are rooting against you. I mean, maybe some people are actively rooting against.
I don't think they're rooting against us. They're not all in for us as the stakes for us are.
It would be better in some ways if people hated what you were doing, because then they had some type of emotional investment. Oh, I really hate the Indie Film Sucks podcast. I really hate those guys. That means they're at least paying attention to it.
But do we expect them to care? That's the part I struggle with. There is, I want them to care.
You want them to care, but I think you're better served by reaching a point where you don't care if people care. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap. I know I have, where, I didn't get the review I wanted. I didn't get in the festival I wanted. I didn't get the response I wanted. I didn't sell the DVDs I wanted to sell, or whatever. And it bums you out, but it's like, man, you just have to put all that aside and be like, all right, people do not give a shit at what I'm doing. And I can either take that and I can let it bum me out and cripple me and say, well, nobody cares, so why should I do it? Or I can look at it like, nobody cares, so nobody's paying attention, so I can do whatever the hell I want. That's what you got to do.
Which generally leads into something that they may find more interesting. The word care is the word I struggle with what you're talking about. I don't disagree with what you say. I think people care because they care about us. They care about us as human beings. They care about our well-being. They care that we're out doing stuff, right? What more do we want from them if they're not interested in what we're doing, if we're not compelling, if our movie doesn't hit the mark for them? If it doesn't, that's the part I struggle with. Is because if it did, they would.
Well, it's, that's what I'm saying, the level of apathy. There are people that I know, that I've known for years, that are, big fans of action horror, and they'll talk, the new blah, blah, blah film came out. Whereas Red Nighted Skies, for instance, I haven't seen that yet. I haven't got around to that yet.
I know what you're saying.
And there's a part of me that's like, well, why not, motherfucker? I mean, it's been out for 2 years. But you essentially have to just ignore that and like, okay, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to put out what I'm going to put out. And if people respond to it, awesome. And if they don't respond to it, awesome. I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
You have to do it for you, and you have to do it for your partners, and you have to do it for whatever you're trying to put out there, and whatever happens, happens. My thing is when we're crowdfunding or we're asking people to come out and just support us for a small portion of their time or spend $15 to buy a Blu-ray or something like that. That's the part that I don't understand, where why isn't that support there, right? Where people, right? And that's where I don't care that people don't care. I think they care about what we do. I really do. I think they were honestly interested. I got a lot of people that ask me about this part of what I do.
Yeah,
but yet they're not out there subscribing to the podcast because there's so many choices out there. It's not their gig. There's very few people like us that are into independent films, that make independent films, that want to watch independent films, that want to do podcasts or go through the grind or whatever like that I've never expected my cousin or this person or that person to follow along with what I'm doing or like and subscribe to things that I do.
No.
I mean, that's where I'm trying to figure out is they don't care because they're not into what we're doing. It's the lowest level of possible movies you can possibly make. Independent film. It's you're doing it for yourself and you hope it goes somewhere.
I would argue that there are lower levels in independent film. Wedding videos come to mind, and legal video, although you can make a lot of money doing both of those. You'll make more money doing those than you will make an independent movie.
And it's so flooded now, and there's so many choices to watch things, that if you weren't seeking them out before and watching them before, you're not going to seek them out and watch it for us.
No, well, that's the problem.
I never expected anybody to care.
It's good and it's bad that the market is so flooded. It's bad because there's so much out there. An independent film, like Robert Rodriguez made El Mariachi for like $7,000. You know, no crew, no nothing, and that was remarkable.
Yeah.
In the early '90s. Now, man, that happened last Tuesday. Nobody cares.
Yep.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And I think you do yourself a grave disservice
thinking that people care?
Thinking that people care.
Gotcha.
You have to operate with, okay, nobody gives a shit what I'm doing, and you got to be cool with that. You have to reach a place that, all right, I'm going to have 7 people watch my film, and that's fine.
We just talked about that at the from our last guest when we were talking about film festivals.
Yeah,
you walk in there, there's 4 people in there.
Yeah, and there are other filmmakers.
And there are other filmmakers that have films that are playing either before or after yours.
Yeah, yeah, and everyone is like, oh, great movie, yeah, we should network.
Yeah, let's collaborate. Yeah, exactly.
And that never happens.
You never talk because they don't even care.
No,
because they care about their stuff.
Yeah.
So I never got to that, right? You've been in it way longer than I have, and I think you expected something out of a community that possibly didn't give it to us. I don't know. I don't know what your expectations were.
When I started, I had grandiose expectations,
okay.
And I think every person who starts out doing this, with a few rare exceptions, have grandiose expectations. Okay. And my first feature film had such a huge local impact, and I thought, man, this is how it's going to be like for everything. And, come to find out, no, it wasn't. That was an outlier.
Okay. But you had that expectation that people cared because they were there.
Yeah.
And they did care. I mean, they cared about what you were doing.
And I remember, years and years ago, making flyers for screenings and, putting them on cars and putting them in, bars and colleges and thinking, oh, yeah, people are going to show up. And yeah, nobody shows up.
Yeah, no. I don't have a problem with that part of it. I have a problem with the support for something I'm passionate about because you can do it at such a low level, like by buying a Blu-ray, by going to spending 2 hours to go watch my film,
sure,
or to stream it, or to give me $5 for a crowd fund because, frankly, the masses are what makes a crowd fund. You get 1,000 people to give you $5, that's $5,000. That's the grind we're in. That's the part that hit me harder because if you're not into what I'm into, I don't expect you to care. I expect that I could have some minimal support when I don't ask for things normally. I don't involve people in my life and my projects and things like that. But when I'm trying to do something, because I see a lot of other people out there and it's like helping somebody move.
Yeah.
Right? It's the thing you do because you're an able-bodied person and that person needs your support. So when you throw it out there, unless you're throwing it out there all the time and people are just like, oh, again? Oh, they're crowdfunding again. They're always constantly asking. Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But when you don't ask and then you do ask and you still don't get that support, that's what bothers me just a little bit. That's what I have a hard time getting over. Nobody has to support. That's not their problem. That's mine. But I don't really care if anybody cares about us making films because I think our community is really small.
Care, support, it's the same thing.
Okay, I was separating out a little bit, but that's kind of how I feel. But I also don't have your lived experience of all that. Was I participating in that? Absolutely. Did I come to the premieres? Well, I didn't know you back in amphetamine days, but was I doing things then? Just like the plays I was doing at Tin Ceiling. It's just like I could expect the same people to show up.
Yeah.
You know?
It was fun.
Exactly. It was a fun night and people would show up, but to anything more than that, unless I was going to Broadway, I guarantee if I went to Broadway, people would be like, oh, I know that guy. All of a sudden people would start coming out of the woodwork.
Oh yeah, that's how that works.
Because it's just a different level. And it's not that they didn't care before, but now it's something they could tell their friends about, or they can do this, or you know what I mean? There's a status associated with it that I don't necessarily understand. It's a psychological thing, but that's my take on it, Chris.
No. Well, we're at the lowest rung of that ladder.
We're at a pretty low rung, but as you said, when we stop thinking about ourselves and we actually put it out there about others, we're showing that we care.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important. And even with our guests, I think they're so appreciative because there's somebody out there with a voice that's like, holy cow, they're interested in me. They're interested in what I do. It's a shared experience. And I think once we removed ourselves from the small bubble, which is St. Louis, and start seeing all the people that are out there and all the people that are responding to this show, I think we're going to start seeing that there is a big community out there that does care.
Well, there is a bigger community because there's so many people in so many cities all across the country, all across the world, hell, that are essentially doing the same thing, yet they feel like they're doing it alone. They feel like they're doing it in this void where nobody gives a shit about my films and I'm really bummed out. And it's like, man, look, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It does not matter if you don't get the response that you thought you were going to get or you hoped you were going to get or you felt like you needed to get. That doesn't matter. It's like just take all that and just put that aside. Just make the films you want to make. And if you can't make the film you want to make, think of something else.
Yeah.
And make that film.
Yeah.
But you're very correct in your assessment. Like once we started looking at things differently, like, well, instead of talking about our story, let's talk about or invite other people to talk about their story. Because if there's one thing I know about filmmakers, myself included,
well, we all got
everybody wants to talk about their shit.
Everybody wants to talk about their stuff, and I think from a sense of caring, right? Because why would I care about their stuff, right? It's kind of this complex kind of puzzle, and it's all kind of mashed together, right? I have to care about their stuff because their stuff is really my stuff. We're doing the same thing, right? We're all making movies,
yeah,
right? But I don't care about theirs because I'm only interested in mine. I need mine to make it. I need mine to be successful. I need to make my money back. I need people to watch my movie. Well, they're saying the exact same thing. So
yes.
We got 50,000 people in their individual pockets with their 40 people with cast and crew all saying, I need to make sure mine is this. Yet they're not going out and supporting or looking at and going out to, Webster on their independent film nights or whatever they're doing, they should have to be turning people away. I would think if we all took this attitude of mine's important, and if I think mine's important and this guy thinks the exact same thing I do.
Yeah.
And if we could just clear that out, like you said, and go, you know what? This guy's struggling because we're finding that out from our guests, just like we are. And this guy's going through the exact same things. That if we set some of that aside a little bit and we just go, me doing this little bit means more to this person. Me buying this Blu-ray means more to this person. And you get enough people doing that, I think the community becomes a lot smaller. And you do start getting some of the stuff where people do care. Because we should care about each other as independent filmmakers. Because we're the only ones that understand what we do.
Yes, that is very true. We're the only ones who get it.
And instead of being in these little bubbles and being like and pseudo caring, because I think we support each other. There's a lot of people in St. Louis that do come out for our stuff and they want us to be successful and we want them to be successful. But I think collectively as these pockets of independent filmmakers, holy cow, it is crazy how there's no system set up. Yeah, there's talk rooms or whatever you want to call them or forums and those things. People just all get in there.
Well, here's the thing about filmmaking as opposed to almost any other endeavor you want to take on. there is absolutely nothing you have to do to become a filmmaker. You don't have to take any classes. You don't have to be certified. You don't have any specialized equipment. You don't have to have any experience. You can pick up any kind of recording device, whether it's your phone or a camera or a Viewmaster viewer, and you can make moving images. Maybe not with the Viewmaster viewer. But point is,
Yes.
There is no bar for entry to being a filmmaker. Name any other profession that you don't have to get certified, you don't have to be trained. There's nothing. You just show up and you make a movie, you don't have to know what the hell you're doing, and you call yourself a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I mean, music does not work the same way, right? You can't just get up on stage with the guitar with no training and play that guitar.
And I would think the bar to entry is fairly low, even from an expense standpoint, right? Once you have the program, once you have the editor, because you can edit on your phone now.
Yeah.
So if you have a phone, you can make a movie on your phone because you just download the apps or whatever you got to do. So the level entry is extremely low.
It's a weird paradigm where it honestly takes almost nothing to get into it, yet people have these expectations of delusions of grandeur, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think it's like what I go back to what I said earlier in what I was talking about is it's the way society has set it up and the expectation of it. We put these people on pedestals, these actors in these movies and all this
movie
kind of
stars,
stuff.
like legit movie stars.
Well,
yeah.
exactly, but that's the idea of a movie. It's that. There's no in between for 99% of the people out
Yes,
there.
that's very true.
There's no in between. There's not this and this. There are different levels, and it's crazy how much I was not exposed to, and being now a filmmaker and being on the podcast and reviewing stuff. There is so many levels of good crap out there.
Oh, yeah.
Really good movies of people just grinding it out. That 99% of the people, if it's not this, then it's either black or white.
Yeah, no.
It's either Hollywood or it's this.
The most left-handed compliment that every filmmaker who's been doing this long enough hears is, "Oh, that looked like a real movie."
Right.
And you cringe when you hear it. You're like, "Oh, thanks."
Well, you cringe the second time. The first time you're like, okay, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
It looks like a real movie.
That's
okay,
fair.
that's right.
fair.
I accomplished that. But after that, it's supposed to look like a movie.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, you kicked the ball. It's a soccer ball. I was supposed to kick it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And every filmmaker has heard that. Just like, what's the old joke? Oh, you make movies? Is it porn?
I was going to say Hollywood or porn. Those are
Yeah.
the two things that people understand.
But yeah, it's porn. Like, oh, that was funny. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, I haven't heard that one. Whoa!
But I just think it's such an odd profession, side gig, whatever we want to call it, right? I don't want to call it a hobby because it's more than a hobby for us. It's an oddity to people. People are enamored by it. They're impressed by it. I get a lot of questions about what we do. People are out there kind of checking out our stuff, but that's where it stops and starts. For most people,
Correct.
It's not that they don't care. It's not that they don't want to support. It's just something that's just they consider sub-level to something else. And until you get in Sundance, or until you do this, or until it's the big premiere, or it's something, it's just another movie that's out there. Because even being on Tubi, like Red Night of Skies is, right? That's not even a big deal anymore.
No.
I mean, our movie right now, and along with a million other movies that people have made, can be viewed by anybody in the world that has access to the internet that the country may allow that channel to be on.
Correct.
Can go download this movie. The access that our movie, there's not many people that can say that they have something out there that right now somebody could click on a button and see something that we made, and my name would show up there, your name would show up there, we're acting in it, that somebody in some country right now that just goes, oh, Red Night of Skies. That's effing impressive, dude.
It is.
And people don't get that aspect of it because I just think of how the market is and people's expectations, and there's so much out there that I never expected people to care or to care. I just want, I guess, support in order to try to make a passion of mine come to realization. And I'm not asking for 10, 15, 20. I'm not asking for people for that because I get that's a different level. That's a level. But to respond to the likes, to subscribe to stuff, because even people that like and subscribe to your things and don't participate in it helps the filmmaker.
Sure.
Helps the podcaster, helps those types of things. That's the type of thing that I don't think people understand. And if they did understand that, I think there would be more support, people caring, but they don't understand the power of the masses of those people, that if you can get that. And the people that do and have convinced their people that that's important are the ones that are a little more successful, or they're making it. Because they break out of that bubble. You need that initial subset of people in order to break out of the bubble. And once you break out of the bubble, then you don't need the subset of people that aren't necessarily into what you're into, because you're going to find the people that are into what you're into.
That's very true and accurate.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my rant.
Okay.
What else you got for us?
Oh, well, here's what I have. We
Okay.
have a couple websites.
There you go.
We have 88mmfilms.com, where you can buy Blu-rays and DVDs of our films right now. Right now they are for sale.
Yep.
For a reasonable-ish price.
Very, very reasonable. Yes.
And also we have IndieFilmSucks.com, where you can see this podcast, you can read reviews, you can submit your own films to be reviewed on this podcast, either on the website or with us. Not live, but close enough to live. It makes no difference.
And it's a place that if you're looking for another film to watch and you're looking for a recommendation, it's a good place to go to see 10, 20, 30 movies where you can, grab one of those and read the review and then go out to Amazon and support them. That's what I use it for.
Well, that's...
Except for I get them in the mail, so I get to watch them.
That's the idea.
That's the idea. So
yeah, anyway, so that's all I got for tonight.
yeah, I mean, we definitely didn't hit the highs tonight.
No, we didn't hit the highs.
But we talked about a lot of lows. We talked about the lows.
I guess the in-betweens are in there somewhere.
They're always in there of true, Tommy. True
independent
filmmaking.
Here. Indie Film Sucks podcast, brought to you by
88mm films. Indie Film Sucks. Chris Grega. Chris
Brock
Macke,
Roberts.
Brock Roberts on assignments, and thanks for watching. Peace.
God bless. Good night.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks